to the left, driver's side, decelerating from 50 miles an hour, and I hit the brakes. If I have to hit them aggressively at all, the brake pedal starts to shimmy violently. It sounds much like when you didn't change your brakes and it's metal on metal, that, except for it's a vibrating feel, and I can feel it in the pedal. The brakes almost don't work. I'm usually grabbing for the emergency brake and trying to figure out where I'm going to go. It's a weird feeling. So today, I'm going to take off my front left wheel and take a look at what's going on. It might be the hub. It might be those power stop brakes. Let's find out. Alright, so you've heard the problem. Now we're going to get into the solution. I'm going to start with lifting up the front end. I'm going to take off the front left tire. I'm going to do full brake inspection. I'm going to take a look at the hub. I do have a brand new hub in a box ready to go, so if I find anything funny with the hub, I'll replace it. What I've done already to this Jeep is I have already changed the pitman arm all the way out to the steering knuckles. That means the drag link, the connection bar, the drop down, all of the tie rod ends have been replaced, everything. So steering is now beautiful on this. That's all fixed, but the braking, we're going to find out what it is. Let's take a look. First, I'm going to try something new to jack it up. Instead of that big old heavy floor jack, I'm going to try this new UniJack that I got off Amazon. It's a single jack. It's kind of made to be an alternative to a high lift because it doesn't take up as much space, but we'll find out what's it all about. Alright, so in this UniJack, it comes with a top extension so that you can reach up. It comes with the pole. It already has a big heavy platform on the bottom, so that means it would be good in light dirt. This pin goes in the top, just like that. This is how you lift it. It's just like any other standard piston jack, but I also have these stabilizing pads just in case. Close to center. Piston's tight. I got a place to sit. I don't see any damage on the rotor that would indicate that there's a problem because of that shimmy. I mean, if the rotor was slightly out of round, that could be a problem. I got to take the caliper off to get to the hub, and let's go ahead and do that real quick. Two big 21mm bolts on the bottom. Need to be removed. Once they're loosened up, you should be able to turn them by hand. I'm going to use a brake caliper holder, hook, whatever you want to call it, and just hook it to the frame. That way it just stays there and doesn't put stress. Now we're going to move over to the passenger side. Earlier this year when I redid the brakes, I replaced one of the hubs. Now, to get the 3 bolts off the back of the hub, you need, right there, what you're going to need is a 12-sided socket that fits on there. I'll show you why in a second. I'm gonna go with a breaker bar to get to that 13mm 12-sided bolt. Got to take the ABS line off. That's going to take an Allen screw, and I'm guessing 3/16. That is the front ABS sensor, which will have to come out to take the hub off. So spin them by hand. That's the second one. Once it's loose, you can just turn it by hand. That's the third hub bolt. Now we got the big bolt to take off. Might take a lot of wiggling to get that ABS sensor out, but once you got it out, you're gonna have to work it through the hole. It's kind of tough to do. Doesn't really want to fit, but it will work its way backwards. Next thing I have to do is get the hub off. Get the hub off. I'm gonna use my hub puller. So the way the hub puller goes, this part goes onto the hub. Once you got the lug nuts on, you attach your slide hammer. Slide hammer, I'm just spinning the end of it. I bring this down to make sure it's gonna stay snug. Then you're gonna slide this backwards and forwards, and that's gonna pull this hub off. Just like that. Pay attention to where this plate went. It's got to go to a certain place, not like that, but like this, the hollow part toward the inside. That's where your ABS sensor comes through, right there. So that has to go to a specific place. Also, anti-seize your threads. This is the new hub. New hub. It's around $100 for 2 of them. And this hub, nice, clean. Make sure that you get the one that has the extended ABS line so that your ABS line reaches, especially if you're lifted. There's something missing. And if you get this far and start torquing everything down and you forget this, then you're gonna have to take it all off again. So don't forget that. I'll back it off a little bit. Put the back bolts on. ABS is staying out of the way. Make sure that you have threaded all of them before you start bringing them in, because the hub itself will be a little bit cockeyed. You can see if they're threaded by right here where you can see this bolt. You'll see the bolt coming through. See how that's coming through? And it spins. Next, what do you do with this dangly ABS line? You take off your old ABS line. They just pop out of the hangers, and you put in your new ABS line back into the same hangers. This top ABS clip that's in here is a royal pain. So that's the ABS, that red thing that you see in there. That's held on by 2 little press-in pins on the back of the shock tower here. Once you press those out, you can push that thing forward to try to separate the ABS line. You can lift this up, get it out of the way so that you can get in there. That button right there is what releases the mechanism. So you're gonna have to somehow push that down after you get the red clip pushed backwards. So the hub is on. The next thing you're gonna do is put your rotor back on, unless you're changing the brakes. And once you put your rotor back on, you're gonna take your caliper, which you had hanging on the wall, making sure that your shoes are properly inside the caliper. You're gonna slide that caliper right over the rotor toward the back of the vehicle. Once it's on there, you're gonna take your bolts that held the caliper assembly on, get them lined up. Get one started, then go for the next one. Don't cross thread them. Now something about a lot of the newer brakes, the ceramic brakes, they have something that is called burnishing. You need to burnish in the brakes. Old school days, you'd put new brakes on, you'd take it down the road, you'd hit the brakes, you'd lock them up, you'd check, make sure everything's not pulling to the right or left. Doing that to some of the newer brakes could damage them, so you have to burnish them. To burnish them, it's to get up, just an example, up to about 50 miles an hour, and then slow down to 20, get up to 50, slow down to 20, and you do that about 20, 25 times. That allows the shoes to get burnished into the rotor and fit properly. Because if you just go out and start using your brakes and you apply them hard, then you could be damaging the ceramic brakes. So read your box and instructions if you're putting ceramic brakes on to see if the manufacturer recommends burnishing. And lastly, put your tire back on. Well, that's it. All told, you probably get this done in less than an hour. It really depends on how much fighting you have to do with different nuts and bolts. The biggest pain was the hooking up the upper ABS connection. Just getting my hands where they needed to be in order to unhook it. Snapping it in isn't a problem. You'll need some tools. You'll need some ratchets. You really can do most of this with your average tools. It's pretty easy, with the exception of pulling the hub. The hub puller makes it a lot easier. I hope that helps you out. If you ever need to change the hub on your Jeep, you can do it yourself. We'll see you on the trail next time. Have a great day. FloridaJeepRides out.